What's up, savvy sports investor? This is Professor MJ, a university professor teaching statistics in Canada. In this video, I'll break down the Atlanta Falcons. What will their 2020 season look like? I'm going to analyze their offense, their defense, and I'll also say a few words about their win total, whose line was set at 7.5 by sportsbooks. I did a thorough statistical study that allowed me to find out whether it's best to bet the Falcons to win over or under 7.5 games in 2020. Alright, so let's get the ball rolling. After a horrible 1-7 start, the Falcons finished strong with a 6-2 record. Can they carry that momentum into the 2020 season? Let's investigate the QB position first. Matt Ryan had a subpar year, albeit not a bad one. His 75.8 grade per Pro Football Focus was his lowest mark over the past 10 seasons, but he still finished 15th out of 37 quarterbacks. He will be 35 years old when the season begins, so he's not getting any younger. He took many sacks, which won't help his health status. He threw 14 picks last year, which was his largest number of interceptions since 2015. Matt SCHAUB is still there in case Ryan gets hurt. At 39 years old, his best days are clearly behind him, but he could be a serviceable backup. Let's keep rolling with the running backs for the Falcons. Atlanta made a big change at this position. They decided to move on from Devonta Freeman by cutting ties with him, while signing Todd Gurley, formerly of the Rams. The 25-year-old back is probably thrilled to return in Georgia, where he played for the Bulldogs in college. Gurley will be an interesting player to watch. Will he return to his 2017 and 18 form? Or will he look like the washed-up guy as was the case in 2019? Well, Gurley is clearly the number one back for Atlanta, as their depth is not too great. Brian Hill carried the ball just 78 times last year, but you don't want him as your number 2 guy, let alone number 1. And Ito Smith is not the answer either. So did the Falcons improve at running back? It's hard to tell right now, as both Freeman and Gurley had an off year in 2019. Still, I tend to lean on the improvement side, but Gurley's chronic knee issues worry me. Let's talk about the wide receivers. Atlanta has one of the best tandems at wide receiver in the league, with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. Jones is not getting any younger at 31 years old, but he still has many good years left. He has been one of the most consistent receivers in the NFL. He has caught at least 83 balls in each of his past 6 seasons, while racking up a minimum of 1,400 yards during that time frame. Entering his 3rd season, Calvin Ridley is ready to embrace a bigger role. The former Crimson Tide has had 2 very good seasons and has scored 17 TDs in 29 games. Russell Gage did a decent job as the number 3 guy, but the former 6th-round pick is not a game breaker. The Falcons added Laquan Treadwell, who was selected 23rd overall in the 2016 draft by the Vikings. He's been a huge disappointment in Minnesota. Will he revive his career in Atlanta? I doubt it, but he could provide a couple of big plays. Let's dissect the tight end position. More big changes here. Austin Hooper, who ranked 8th according to Pro Football Focus rankings, among 66 tight ends, left for Cleveland. The Falcons replaced him with Hayden Hurst, formerly of the Ravens. He finished 14th according to PFF rankings. Hooper caught 75 passes for close to 800 yards, while Hurst hauled in 30 passes for 349 yards. However, don't be misled by those numbers too much. Keep in mind that Hurst often worked behind Mark Andrews and Nick Boyle in Baltimore. Also, here's a key stat. Atlanta attempted the most passes in the league with 684, while the Ravens finished dead last in that category with just 440 attempts. Hurst will certainly see a big increase in the number of targets going his way in 2020. Let's discuss the offensive line. As a whole, the offensive line disappointed a little bit by allowing the 5th highest number of sacks in the league. However, as mentioned earlier, the Falcons attempted the most passes in the NFL, and they have a QB who is not very mobile. Now, left tackle Jake Matthews and center Alex Mack received very nice grades from PFF. But the same cannot be said about right tackle Caleb McGarry, who finished 72nd out of 81 tackles, Wes Schweitzer, 56 out of 81 guards, and James Carpenter, 75th out of 81 guards. Schweitzer is gone to Washington. The team acquired Justin McCray, who received poor marks as well. So the only glimmer of hope might come from the return of Chris Lindstrom. He played just 5 games in his rookie campaign after being selected as the number 14 overall pick in the 2019 draft. And during his limited time on the field, he did a fine job. So let's summarize the 2020 outlook for this offense. The Falcons finished 13th in terms of points scored per game last season. I expect them to be in the middle of the pack once again in 2020. Matt Ryan's age concerns me a little bit. His lack of mobility also increases the chances of him getting injured. Adding Todd Gurley and Hayden Hurst while losing Devontae Freeman and Austin Hooper is not a clear gain nor a clear loss. A slight improvement could be seen at wide receiver, with Ridley getting more experience, and on the offensive line with Chris Lindstrom's return to the lineup. Alright, it's time to preview the Falcons' 2020 defense. Atlanta allowed the 10th highest number of points per game last year, and I'm afraid it might get even worse in 2020. Signing Dante Fowler was a smart move for sure. I love this addition. The return of Keanu Neal at strong safety should also help, but after missing almost 2 full years, it might take time to get back to his old self. Now on the other side, losing Vic Beasley, Adrian Claiborne, Devontae Campbell, and Desmond Trufant really adds up. They were NFL caliber players who will need to be replaced. I'm not convinced that rookies AJ Terrell and Marlon Davidson can provide enough of a spark to avoid this unit to regress as a whole. Now, will the Falcons win over or under 7.5 games this season? Much like every other NFL team, I've answered this question through a detailed statistical study. I looked at the Falcons' 16-point spreads on their 2020 regular season games, as posted on betonline.ag. Then I simulated Atlanta's 2020 season 1 million times by following their win probabilities for their 16 games. The return on investment, the ROI, for Atlanta's win total turns out to be the 9th highest among the league's 32 teams. As you are probably already aware, the top 10 plays can be obtained in a special gold package I'm selling. See the link below. And that includes the betting tip on the Falcons. The other 22 picks are completely free and available in my other videos. Now a word of caution. I don't advise that you try to guess whether to bet the over or the under on the Falcons based on the comments I made in this video, since they have nothing to do with BetOnline's point spreads, which is the basis to the final betting tip. Now all top 10 picks have a ROI above 24%, which is astounding. I'm going to bet more than $150,000 in Las Vegas by the end of the summer on my top plays, so it shows you how valuable they are. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video. This is Professor MJ saying so long.